Welcome to this new Addon Spotlight. In this Addon Spotlight we're gonna look at the Douglas C-47, which has been released earlier this week. And as you can see, there are some pretty common things compared to the Douglas DC-3, as you can see over on the right side. So this one has been used in D-Day heavily, right? And it comes with, in this case, 4 liveries: the M5, the M5 lead ship, the USN 159, and the M5 tow plane, because this aircraft was also used to tow another aircraft type into the air. And that one will be discussed in a separate video. For now, we select the M5 leadership, and then we're gonna look at the weight and balance, where you can change the balance, right? You can change the view on the left, right, center 1 and center 2, but also you can change the payload. And as you can see, besides the pilot and co-pilot, there are also several seats which you can, I would say, change the weights of, as well as on the right side, change the center of gravity. Failures, there are tons of them: oil system, fuel pumps, complete failures, but also cylinder failures, fires, magnetos which are not working. And as you can see, there's a lot to select from. So if you prefer to make it a little bit more challenging for yourself, then you can enable this by enabling it and then arming it. And then, of course, let Flight Simulator surprise you. HC options, similar ones as we already have seen with other aircrafts. The heavy being added to the call sign, as well as you can provide the tail number, the call sign, and the flight number. Flight model will make it more realistic because you can add wear and tear, which will affect the performance of the aircraft. We'll also make adjustments to the elevator, the rudder, and the aileron authorities. Normally, you will not change these, maybe in some very specific scenarios, but I'm not touching them at all, I must say. So let's now find a good spot to depart from, right? So let's go to England. We're already there. We're above Great Britain and UK. And then let's fly. Let's see if we can find a useful, let's say, airport which we can depart from. These are the cities, right? So not, and then we shouldn't depart from London City. So in that case, let's go to this area. Southampton. Well, of course we can select Southampton, right? I was searching for an RAF base, but it's always pretty hard, especially if you are not preparing well for recording the video, which I definitely should have done. So let's put the aircraft on ramp number 18 and then click on fly. Keep in mind that the first time you will start Flight Simulator, or the first time you will use the aircraft, it will take some time before it's, I would say, loading, because of the rendering, although I saw some improvements lately. If you want to have some more information on the, I would say, aircraft itself, then you can simply watch the screen, because on the bottom, as you can see, there's a lot of information displayed across the aircraft, right? So in this case, okay, when it was used, also, hey, the Skytrains dropped countless paratroopers and several other things. So pretty interesting information. And to my surprise, it's pretty pretty fast, right? So let's click on ready to fly. Let's hide the fuel balance. Let's hide the HC. Let's hide the checklist. And then let's go outside. So this is the aircraft. It's standing on, I would say, very special spot, as you can see. I would say in the middle of a parking spot almost, I would say. Right, so let's have a look. It's also a little bit dark, as you can see. So it's not too nice weather. But here we come to the aircraft, right? So the aircraft is standing at a refuel point, which is, I would say, kind of special. I wouldn't expect it here. But you can see a lot of detail here, right? On the livery, on the wings. So all those pop nails are there, right? If you look at the engine, which is over here, then we can also find some nice spots. Let me, say, slow down the speed a bit so we can have a closer look at it. So here we can see a lot of things, as including the usage, but also including some nice information, which we might be able to look at in a few minutes. And here we can see the cockpit already. So that's pretty cool. So this is the front of the engine, right? Front of the engine looks really detailed. It looks like that they borrowed some of the DC-3, because this one also includes those nice things, right? So those nice additions. And if we look probably a little bit closer, really slow, We can also see that the glimpse is on here, right? So it looks really cool. Almost this looks like really silver, including the logo, which they have added. So pretty nice over here. Then if we would look at the propeller itself, you can also see that there's usage being added. So that's also a lot of detail over here. Then of course here we can see the M5 logo, and we can see the pilot, I would say in his, I would say, is it legacy? Yeah, in his legacy, let's say, suit, also waiting to, let's say, start the aircraft and go airborne. Now, if we would go to the back, we would see the similar level of detail, right? You can see the scratches on here. Looks really nice. And if we would say look from this angle, we can also see the changes over there. If we would look under the aircraft, which is sometimes also really interesting, then we can see also the, let's say, the whole mechanism where the wheel is attached. Is a lot of realism being added, as well as the exhaustion, which looks like to be this one. Also a lot of, oh, wrong button, a level of detail being added there. So let's me go, oh, not in the aircraft. I want to first show this one to you. Also a lot of level of detail being added here. Sorry for the wording. If you look at it, right, so a lot of nice things, including the usage, which you can also see, which makes it always, I would say, more realistic to look and fly in these aircrafts. If you look at the, I would say, pipes, right, which are for the hydraulic systems, also are there nicely. And now let's go inside the aircraft, right? But first want to adjust the speed a bit. So let me go inside the aircraft. And here we can see the people, the brave soldiers being waiting to be dropped above the French coast, right? Here we go. And it's always changing because in this case, the aircraft is not standing, I would say, 100%, I would say horizontal, right? But this would say building up. We can see also the level of detail here for the people, right, in the aircraft, including, let's say, logos, including their bags, including the usage on their, I would say, on their clothes. And if we would scroll, go a little bit further, we can see that you can even pick your drink water over here. Oh, and then we can come up into this area where we are almost in the cockpit and see a lot of cool stuff. So, for example, here, this is likely the spot of the navigator, right? And the radio specialist. Also a lot of level of detail here. And then eventually, we will end up in the cockpit. Going far too fast, sorry for that. With two pilots waiting for us. So let's now go to the different view, but not before we watch at the level of detail here. Even those signs here are being added. So this is the cockpit itself. So the cockpit itself, right, contains a lot of things. Also a lot of details. Not all the buttons have been animated, but a lot of them have. And we can simply hide the yoke also if we want to hide it. At least it says that we can hide it. But for some reason I can't hide it. Let's try it again. Normally you would be able to hide it, right? So likely it's me. Likely it's me. So maybe I should go to the different view in that case. Come on. It's not doing what I want. Oh. But normally you would be able to hide it, right? And that's sometimes frustrating, right? Because now you can see I can move this one. But for some reason, the yoke visibility is shown in the middle. But as you just saw, I found it's completely on the right side. Well, at least for the co-pilot, and on the left side for the normal pilot. So that's, I would say, sometimes it could be a little bit frustrating finding those, I would say, points where you need to click. Here we can see the wing flaps as well as several gauges, right, for the airspeed, the altitude. Here we can see the buttons for the audio signals and the markers. We can see the desired heading, the radio compass, the altitude, of course. Then we can see the horizon, right, or which is showing us the, I would say, turn rate and the climbing rate. We can see the compass over here, also an altitude meter over here. The time, also really interesting to see, of course. Then in the center, we can see some speed valves over here, as well as the sensitivity for these systems. Again, here we can see the Sperry illumination. We can see another, I would say, virtual horizon, or kind of. And then here we can see another instrument, which I really don't know the name of, sorry. Then below that, we can see all the things which have related to the fuel and oil pressure, as well as the engine systems, which are there, which is also really important to have a look at. And then if we look at the other side, which is the co-pilot side, you can see kind of a similar, I would say, similar gouges. There are some different ones. And also here are some buttons like, hey, the secure aircraft. But also you can see that some of those buttons are not working. So don't expect that everything works. Some of them are not working. And then we also see the wipers and the, let's say, compass on the top. Then in the center, we see, of course, the propellers, as well as the left engine supercharger, as well as the mixture settings, which are really important, as well as the manual hydraulic pressure pump and the flap handle, which is over here. And here we can see the individual throttles, including the fire extinguisher, which is there. And you can see that you can even, I would say, remove the armrest if you don't need it. So cool stuff. If we would zoom into this area, we can also see that the fuel selector, we can also easily change it. It's a little bit too dark in the aircraft due to the weather, which is a little bit dark, but I hope you can see it. It's on the left side of all those nice handlers, which you can see. And here we've got, if we zoom into this area, we have the rudder trim, which is hidden over here. And then, of course, the pitch trim, which is over here. So a lot of detail inside the cockpit, but on the top, as you can see, there are also a lot of buttons, right? Those are used to, manage the, I would say, light, right? The master light, the landing lights. We can see the left propeller feather. We can see the propeller de-ice, the radio frequency changes, which you can do. Then we can change the cabin lights. We can also see some other stuff, which is on the co-pilot side. For example, the starters, as you can see, the boosters, the cabin lights also. So really, really nice. The good thing is that the aircraft also comes with a checklist, which concludes all the steps which you need to take, right? So you can click on these buttons, which will highlight the option which you need to select, because else it might be difficult to find, okay, hey, where are these buttons? Unless you're, of course, familiar with the DC-3, or unless you're a real air pilot and you might have flown in this nice one. But this one will simply help you from one system to the other system. In some scenarios which you will see, like this one, free and correct for the flight controls, right? That's something which you need to verify yourself. There's no button to do that. And then I would say, if you would do all kind of the things in the right order, then you should be able to, go to the complete taxi list, or to the complete list. And then you can, of course, do a takeoff, or taxi and takeoff, and then, of course, cruise, glide and approach, parking. All those steps are included. Keep in mind that there's also a manual included. And that manual can be found on the Flight Simulator website. So let me quickly show you where you can find it. To do that, I will open Edge, in my case, new window, and then go to flightsimulator.com. And if we would do that, we will find the media. In the media area, you will find the aircraft manuals. Then you can click on download the PDFs and manuals. Scroll down, and there you will find the Douglas C-47D manual. If you click on it, it will open it. It's a pretty nice one. It's 38 pages. As you can see, I already would say scrolled into it because I looked at some of the systems. Here's a little bit more detail about how those systems are working and how you can use them. But if you keep an eye on my channel, I would say, discuss several of them in the near future. So with that, we're at the end of this video. In this video, we looked at the Douglas C-47D, which has been released earlier this week. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.